Yeah, like we said on the past episode, tennis is now well and truly back. ATP Cincinnati, WTA Cincinnati, we got the Prague Challenger, we got Todi Challenger, and we're going to be taking you through all of the draws and all of our selections. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Dennis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
So what do you think of that new intro there to the Game to Love podcast? We're moving up in the world. It's just
Mate, it's looking good now. We've got a new logo. We've obviously got the new intro.
Yeah.
And it just shows, man, well done. I love it. We're doing well. The podcast is growing. Thanks for all the fans. Keep subscribing as well. Special mention to them, of course, because without them, we'd be nothing. We'd have a flashy logo and intro with no one to watch any of it.
Exactly.
But, I've really enjoyed the journey, mate. We're doing well. And I feel like it's perfect time as well because tennis is actually back. I know the other episode we were saying tennis is back with a few WTA tournaments. But now we're talking about the big tournaments. You've got Cincinnati, an ATP 1000 Masters tournament.
Yep.
And there's a lot of big players out on show. It's good, brilliant preparation for the US Open. And as we're filming this right now, we've already seen the first round. So we've waited to the evening to do this podcast because we wanted to talk about some of the first round matches. And there's a lot to discuss. So
there is a hell of a lot to discuss. Just where do we get stuck in is the main thing. It's like where to start on so much exciting action that we've had. I mean, we should probably start from the top, I think. I mean, did you want to, should we take a look at the draw in the men's and then we can sort of go through some of those results and then how it's impacted the draw?
Yeah. Well, if we do that, let's start with the qualifiers quickly.
Yeah,
let's do a quick little touch on the qualifiers because obviously we had them the 2 days prior.
Oh yeah.
So to qualify, you had to win 2 games.
They were great, and there were some great matchups there.
Yeah, some really good players on show. So obviously we had both of our guys who we were saying it would be really exciting to see him in the tournament. You heavily tipped Brandon Nakashima, and I was more siding with the JJ Wolf. Hate to bring it up early on, but I remember we had a discussion on the last podcast. You saying that Brandon has got more potential. I feel like he's the better player.
Billy got screwed, mate.
Only one of them's got through, and that's JJ Wolf.
I know, but look who they got put up against. He got put up against like fan favourite from the podcast, Martin Fucsovics, who, as we know, he's taken sets off Federer in past Grand Slam. So
not even that long ago, literally.
No schmuck on the hard courts, is he? So I was still thinking maybe, and Brandon was favourite going into that, which was crazy considering someone who's done so well at Australian Open recently. But like you called it, you said, yeah, Martin, no chance that Brandon's beating him, and straight sets. Martin flew through. But JJ Wolf, wow, played Igor Gerasimov and made light work of him. 6-3, 6-1 against Gerasimov, who's an incredible player.
Gerasimov top 70 in the world, and he's an incredible player, like a younger player coming through, and he's like a massive talent in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So to be beating him as comfortably as what he did, I think it's remarkable. And it just shows the future this guy has in the game. And I love watching JJ Wolf. And it's going to be interesting now to see how he fares in the tournament because he's going to be playing some big players.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, you saw after that first round of qualifying, he then came up, JJ Wolf was up against Jaume Munar, who's another young player from Spain, who's really a decent player. Took him he lost the first set and then he ended up coming back to win in 3, which is really impressive to show that resolve as well. So, yeah, I'm very impressed by JJ Wolf so far.
Yeah. And then the other mention really for the qualifiers, obviously there's quite a few of them, but we'll just highlight a few of them, is Ruusuvuori.
Wow, mate. We were hoping for big things from him from last year, weren't we? But, you just seen. He plays Chardy in the first round of the qualifying. He's beat Medvedev last year, so this is the top hardcourt player, and he bagels him in the first set. I mean, literally incredible. This kid, I think, he's only 21. He's going to go far. I'm just hoping he gets a good draw, and we just get to see the best of him, because we know he's beaten Dominic Thiem last year as well. I just think the sky's the limit for this kid, and I just can't wait to see him come up against some real high-class opposition in, hopefully, this tournament.
Well, we can see, right? So we've got the draw up. We've probably good chance to lead us onto the draw.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't actually check exactly who Ruusuvuori or JJ Wolf's playing in the first round.
Well,
while you do that, I'll just literally just talk a bit about them too. And they've been on our radar for a while. They're incredible players. And I'm just glad they was able to just do that final qualifier to get through and actually prove themselves in a big tournament. The Australian Open, they both went through the first qualifying round and struggled at the final hurdle. In games where they was both favourites to win it as well. And they just that pressure sort of got on top of them. But here, it seems like I feel like for these type of players, it will help not having crowds, because they're used to that sort of environment. They're not a player who needs like a big crowd to sort of get them going, because they've got that raw ability and they're used to playing in certain like situations without any fans. So it could be a really good opportunity to see players like this thrive and see how far they get in the draw. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but even if they can get through one or two rounds, it'd be amazing. It'd be brilliant, not just for their for their career in terms of like financial element, but just for their own personal growth as well.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it's all just dependent on who you're playing as well. Like if you get a favourable draw in these competitions, looking up and down here, but there's been quite a lot of qualifiers paired with qualifiers in the first round as well. And if you're one of those people, which luckily for Ruusuvuori, he is one of those people, and he will be playing another qualifier in the first round, which is Korda from the US.
Okay.
Which can sort of take us on to another topic that we wanted to bring up, which was who Korda beat in his last qualifying match, which was Gilles Simon. And what happened in this match? It was just Gilles Simon's been playing so well. And
when we first started these podcasts, we used to do L of the Week. And I feel like we should bring it back just for this one and give it to Gilles Simon.
What happened?
That is a disgrace, man. That's a disgrace. Apparently, he's not played tennis and it's world of this pandemic and all this time off, but he's a good player. He's a quality player. And he should be doing something not quite right. I didn't actually watch the match. So I'm not sure what happened, if it was a case of he just gave up.
No
but
idea.
It did seem like that in terms of like, what was it? Was it the second set?
He won the first set 6-3, and then the second set he just fell apart. 6-love. So we get
and it was almost a golden set as well in terms of like, I think he only won maybe 3 or 4 points, which is just you rarely see that at that high level, especially for someone like Gilles Simon, who I think he was a clear favourite to win that match.
I think he won in that second set. He took, I'm just looking at it here, 4 points.
That's ridiculous. You don't ever see something. That's what I'm saying. That's just bizarre, isn't it?
It's terrible. And in the final set as well, he lost 6-1, and see how many points he won there as well. He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It seems like he down tools, didn't it?
He won five up until he won a game. He only won 5 points in that, and then won one game, and then he lost the final game. So just terrible. Just what happened there?
Just capitulation. I don't know. He must have been up for it at the beginning. They won the first set, and then from there, maybe things just, I don't know, fitness.
Just bizarre.
I'm not even sure if it's an injury, because I've not seen anything. When I was looking on,
he's been playing so well,
and seeing what other people were saying, it wasn't like an injury. What set him back? He just seemed to.
Maybe we shouldn't take too much away from Korda, though. Maybe he just suddenly upped his level and started playing his best tennis, and he was unplayable.
Well, it's going to be a brilliant game then, isn't it? If he is playing his great tennis against Ruusuvuori. I personally do fancy Ruusuvuori. I reckon he will be the favourite for the tie.
Oh, for sure.
Well, I don't know. It could be quite tight. Korda's a brilliant player. A bit more experience than Ruusuvuori as well.
Yeah, they're sort of in the middle of the draw, these two. They're slap bang in the middle. So I think you're looking at whoever wins that is going to go through and face Berrettini in the next round, which that's not going to be any easy match for either of them. He's obviously just sat there waiting. They got a bye through from the first round, the same as I believe it is Dominic Thiem Sasha Zverev. We've had Tsitsipas as well with a buy through.
Djokovic.
Batista Agut, Djokovic, yes, Medvedev, and Goffin, I believe, as well, yeah. So that was the last one out of the 8. But yeah, if we move away from there and then take a look
at JJ Wolf. Did you have JJ Wolf?
JJ Wolf. Let me just have a quick look at that. JJ Wolf. Up against Richard Gasquet. That would be a very interesting match. That's probably one that's gone under the radar a little bit. I probably haven't heard many people speaking about that one. And Gasquet, as we know, in the UTS and stuff, he was playing really good stuff.
He was playing some good tennis.
Yeah, and his backhand was firing in that. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a big ask for JJ Wolf, but you never know. We've seen stranger things in tennis, and
changing of the guard.
Anything's possible, really. But it's like with Rusevori. He's beat Thiem before, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So anything's possible. I think in this time where everybody's just coming back, I think we're going to see some shocks, and why not? Like, you never know. And I wouldn't even put it past, if Rusevori was to get past Korda, wouldn't put it past him. He could get past Berrettini as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that out there. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Another tie in this let's cover some more of the results before we look at what the possible next rounds are going to be. Obviously, we've got our countryman, British at the moment, because he won. Andy Murray makes his way through the first round, took out Francis Tiafoe. It's a little bit shaky, but to be expected.
Looked a bit rusty, didn't they, to be fair?
I think so. Yeah, I wasn't that impressed. The first 2 sets, I wasn't really blown away by either player, to be honest. It looked like they were both just getting their serves in, both hitting a few unforced errors. There wasn't many winners. And it was just a bit of a nothing sort of match, really. It was just decided by a few unforced errors each time.
I thought both of their first serves were actually not too bad.
Yeah.
It was quite consistent first serves. But aside from that, the level of tennis after that was just a bit weak, to be fair. I thought Tiafoe was quite good when he come to the net.
Murray, I think he was,
his defensive self was obviously pretty powerful. I thought his forehand was actually quite impressive. And it was good to see that he was moving around quite well as well. Like, I was worried about his hip and stuff, see how he's moving. But no, it's an amazing achievement, man. For someone who we thought we wasn't sure if we were ever going to see him back on a tennis court, to be doing what he's doing, it's brilliant. But
I still thought it's quite interesting to see as well when he was playing. He still gets distracted, and he still doesn't have that mental side. And you saw in that second set that exact same thing. If there's some, I don't know what was going on in that crowd. There was no one there. There's about 5 or 6 people there, and out of the 5 or 6 people, once he's had a first serve, someone's walking up and down in the stands. What are they doing? Like, sit still, and especially to the side where he's serving as well. And then, surprisingly, it got in his head. He had to wait for him to sit down. And then I've seen possibly the worst serve I've seen him, maybe like from any professional tennis player in God knows how long. He hit it in the bottom of the net. And it said
hit the floor before. I think he hit the floor before the net.
64 miles an hour for a serve from Andy Murray.
I think he just framed it, to be fair. But on that issue of like people walking around, I don't know. Like, my opinion on it is a bit like, they're professional athletes. Kind of just get over it. It should be enforced that people should not be doing that. I understand the umpire needs to have control of the.
For sure.
I don't like that. I think it's disrespectful for people to do it. If occasionally you get the odd person just go in your line of sight, get over it. Just get over it. Like, I hate these players who whinge about it, and you only notice the people who whinge is when they lose.
If it's fine margins,
something happens like that, it doesn't happen. No, come on, Ben. It's a bit silly, isn't it? They're sportsmen. Get over it.
It's all about concentration at the highest level. And if you have the same thing in golf, all the people, when you're playing golf, everyone has to be silent. There's not going to be any movement. And they have to be solely focused on how they're hitting that ball. It's similar in tennis.
I understand that. And I'm not saying I think people should respect that and they should be in their seats. They shouldn't be distracting players in any way, shape or form. And that that's not just like standing in their line of sight or moving or a lot of the time it's shouting, like people shouting out at the wrong time.
It's unforgivable now because all that's there is people who are involved with tennis players. So they should be the most respectful out of everyone. Why are there people moving around in the stands now?
Yeah, but I watched it as well. It wasn't that bad. It was just like a little bit of movement. It wasn't like a big, it wasn't make a noise or anything like that.
It wasn't a little bit of movement. He went up the steps. And then he was like, what the hell are you doing? And then he was like, they told him and he had to come run down the steps and sit in his seat again. He's like, what is going on? I expect this in 20,000 people here with 6 people in the stand. Why can one person can't sit still for 2 seconds?
I think players should just get over it a little bit. Well, they need to stop throwing their toys out their pram, things like that.
For someone like Murray,
there's a lot of big. Yeah, well, it's silly to. Don't.
Well, anyway,
it needs to sort of.
Well done to him anyway. He got through it. Was it 6-1 in that final set? So he just took over. So well done to him. And now he has the pleasure of taking on Zverev in the next round. So that is, everyone's licking their lips at that fixture. I think that's probably going to be one of the top matches in that next round. Probably the one that people are going to choose. Especially Zverev. He's been a bit like flaky since coming back as well. All those double faults, all that type of thing when he was playing in Adria Tour, I believe.
Yeah. So before we get on to that, I just want to quickly have a quick mention on Francis Tiafoe.
Yeah,
I was
go
tweeting
on then.
about him as well.
Yeah.
And I like him. He's a good player. He's done brilliant to get where he is. He's obviously a top American. He's young as well. I think he's only 23 years old. So he's got bags of potential. But for me, I find him a bit frustrating. I don't think he really... There's a lot missing from his game, and I think he's just lacking in a lot of big matches. He can win maybe 1 or 2, but he's not really a tournament player. He rarely has a good run in a tournament, and I feel like there's a lot of hungrier younger players coming through, like some of the ones we've mentioned, and not even just them, like even more established ones like the Rublev, Berrettini,
definitely.
Sort of players there, Sinner, Alex de Minaur, Shapovalov, them sort of players on the outskirts obviously are good. I can go on forever. These players, I think they beat him 9 times out of 10. Yeah. And he's just that guy who's just not quite the level, but he's too good for the challengers and he's sort of in no man's land. Well, I don't actually see him really winning an ATP tournament.
I think you have
of many levels.
I don't either. But I think he's one of those players that you might see if he's going to suddenly make the level, it might be in like a 4 years' time or something. He might have to really just do the journeyman. He might have to be one of these people that suddenly like their game goes to the next level at another time in their career because maybe like a Stan Wawrinka or something like that. Well, that was more with Grand Slams and stuff. He was always more prolific on ATP, but...
Yeah, but don't ever compare him to Stan. Mate, he's a legend. He's a brilliant player. He's a champion.
Yeah,
this guy's not. He's not. I don't want to be too harsh on him.
But he's young, mate. He's like 22. So you've got to these players sometimes don't look at what I know. It's not a great comparison, but how old's Dominic Thiem at the moment? He's what 26, 27.
He was still smashing it.
Was he still winning the?
He was still better. He was still better than Tiafoe.
We're only seeing his. We're seeing his best now, though, at like the ages of 26, 27, when you might see the best with Tiafoe. He might suddenly start picking a few ATP events at 26, 27, but you don't know. Maybe he doesn't have the right coach at the moment.
I don't want to write him off for the future. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying right now he's someone who doesn't really fill me with much enthusiasm in terms of I just don't think he's that great.
Fair enough.
I think quite a few people agreed with me on Twitter, to be fair. So it probably is a general opinion. I'm not just being like very out there.
He's not really the type of person who really, I don't know, blows your socks off or gets you wanting to like view tennis that much. So and he's not one of those names that jumps off the page and makes you think, wow, this guy's playing, I'm going to tune in, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe he can change it. But
I do find he's quite exciting at the net and stuff like that, and his volume's pretty impressive. But
he's a great player, but
it's okay. It's just average, man. It's just very average. And Murray was not playing very well, but I think he just basically that first set. He just handed it on a plate to Murray, And then third set, couldn't really.
Murray was just. It was. He was just doing what Murray does best in the third set, and Tiafoe just beat himself a little bit in the third.
Yeah,
he's just getting frustrated.
On to what you were saying earlier, the Zverev match. That'll be Andy Murray's next opponent.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting. Yeah, like you were saying, I do think Zverev will come out on top because Andy Murray didn't really fill me with much. I'm hoping Andy Murray can win, but
it's the age as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, and Zverev is a top quality player, so you'd expect Zverev to be able to beat him in 3 sets.
Yeah, he's a bigger player, he's taller and younger, and yeah, he just has a lot of attributes on his side that you would think would take him past me, but never rule out Andy Murray.
Never write him off, man. Because we've tried doing it a few times and see what happened at Antwerp. He beat Stan Wawrinka in the final, and he had a brilliant tournament, and he won after his surgery. So, mate, this guy can do anything. At the end of the day, he was one of the top players in the world, and you don't just lose that overnight. It's all in his head still. He's still got that there, and he still knows what he wants to shoot. Maybe he's not hitting it as well as what he could. Well, obviously he's not, but he can still do enough, I feel, to beat players. So
exactly,
let's wish him well and get behind him, because really he's the only Brit of much hope at the moment.
Yeah, move on to the other Brit that we've had. We had Kyle Edmund playing against Kevin Anderson there, and what happened there? Edmund wasn't a great performance from what I could see. I mean, he's sort of after that first set tie break. I think if he'd have just nicked that, he might have been able to have sealed it in 2. But I don't know. There's just always this element in Edmund's game where I just feel that he doesn't quite bring it enough. He just I don't know. He falls off a little bit. I don't know. I just a little bit one-dimensional.
Oh yeah, little points is too passive. He hits it hard when there's no pressure on, but then when there's pressure on, he's a bit too passive. And with a player like Kevin Anderson, who's very powerful, you can't afford to do that. Because if you're too close inside the baseline, he's going to just dispatch it. And it brings back to another point what we made on the other podcast.
Yeah.
And I was saying that I feel like big servers could come out on top on this tournament.
Yeah.
It's my theory, the fact that people haven't been playing much. A big serve, if you don't really lose it, it's their big attribute. And players are going to struggle, I feel, with them type of players. So we've seen already, Riley Opelka's gone through. Kevin Anderson's gone through.
Another 2 big servers against 2 Brits. What was our luck like, eh? Riley Opelka. But
and then another one we want to talk about is Struff. He's a big hitting player. He's got a big serve as well.
That was one of the ones I wanted. We didn't get a chance to do the podcast. I wanted to try, and that was one I was going to throw in there as an upset, just because he's been playing really well, and I think he took a set off Djokovic, if I'm not mistaken, in the Australian Open.
Yeah,
and he's just a really decent player that doesn't really get the credit he deserves.
I think he's just not a very consistent player. He's one of them players like I forget who on the women's tour who's exactly like that. You know what I mean? Who's the lady on the women's tour who just literally tries to hit every shot as a winner?
Oh, Ostapenko.
Yeah. Exactly that. Ostapenko. He's got that kind of vibe. He's a bit reckless with his shots in terms of don't get me wrong, he hits a lot of winners, and he's a big, powerful player.
Yeah.
And his serving's pretty powerful too. So that's what I was saying. It brings back to another point, another big server kind of thing going through. Obviously, it's not as big as the likes of Opelka and Kevin Anderson. But you've also got Felix. Felix went through. I hate to skip through them all, but I just wanted to go. My theory that I feel like you're going to see a lot of these big servers do well in this tournament, and it wouldn't surprise me if one of them were to clinch the title.
It's possible. And that Felix, I thought he would probably do well in this. He didn't fill me with confidence at the beginning of this match, though, against Basilashvili. He hit 3 double faults in one game. That's
Felix?
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, so this is correct. That's how rusty a few players are, especially if you've got a big serve. You don't want it to be misfiring like that. But he turned around a 2-0 deficit, and then I think he came out on top. He won the first set.
Yeah.
It was 6-4. And then the second set, he was firing and took over. And you could tell the power was obviously there. Basilashvili's had a lot of stuff going on off the court as well. So his mind might not be there fully.
He looked really good at the beginning, not going to lie.
He did, yeah.
He had some brilliant shots. I watched the highlights of the match, and he looked like the way he was playing was incredible. But something I didn't notice was Felix looked good.
Yeah.
He looked really strong. Like the way he was moving around the court, it was actually beautiful to see. He's actually such a beautiful player.
Yeah,
I can't explain it, but the way he moves and glides around the court is really cool to see.
Well, he's showing why
obviously he's hitting it was amazing. I was mate, this Felix guy is a real deal.
Well, we've seen he's getting in those finals already, and this could be another case for him to just move a little bit further through the tournament. Unfortunately, he's in Djokovic's end of the draw, so he's got through this round. Next round, he might face either Sonego or Tennis Sangren, and then he might move on to possibly be Djokovic in the next round. But
I'd love to see it, though. I'd like to see a Felix Djokovic matchup.
Yeah, I think that'd be really exciting, considering how little Djokovic has been playing and how well Felix was playing at the beginning of the year as well.
Well, the last time they played was in the final at the beginning of the year, and then Djokovic obviously come out on top of that one.
Yeah,
but
I know.
I don't know. Felix, you never know. He's got the ability, the guy.
Big serve.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. But talking about Basilashvili quickly, there's so many double faults he hit.
No,
he's always got that in his game, though. That's not even like him being rusty. Him as a player, generally, he's like a bit hit and miss in terms of like he hits a lot of unforced errors and a lot of double faults. If he was to able to eradicate that from his game, he's already like a top 30 player, isn't he? Is he not? If he was to, I think he is now still. He's up there for sure.
27, yeah.
So if he was able to eradicate the amount of unforced errors and double faults he makes in his career, this guy would be like a top 10 player because his ability is a high end player, but he's just always had it. He's just always prone to mistakes, and it was definitely telling today.
Shows
all the double faults he made were on big points, so like break points, set points. He made so many on like important times. I think he lost the first set on a double fault, and then he kept losing them to double faults, and it's just like you can't be doing that.
And it just goes
so wasteful.
And it's crazy. Like these two players are 7 ranking places apart, and the bookmakers made him like about a 3 or 4 to 1 underdog on Felix, which is crazy considering they're that close in the rankings, and yet they just don't rate him against Felix at all. That's why it's so crazy. Like that's how much Felix is like rated right now. People are seeing the rise, and they're thinking this could be the next wonder kid on the tour. I think.
Yeah, agreed.
But I think we look on that side of the draw still. We can see Felix moving through, could face Sangren or Sonego. They play tomorrow. We've got obviously the other match was just finished. Berankis has gone through against Tommy Paul, and he's now going to face Djokovic in the next round. So yeah.
It looked like a very close match. Tommy Paul played better the first set, and then it was just very close. Berankis is a really good player. He's quite a short guy, but he's a very good player and
powerful.
I love watching him. He's done well in the qualifiers as well. He's been winning a few games. So. And
Tommy Paul, there's a lot of evident frustration there on the court. Probably hoping he was going to do a bit better, just being at home, like in the US, that type of thing. Just he's voicing his frustrations a lot on the court, and it's clear to see that he's not. He knows he can be like playing better than he was, but I think that just plays into the hands of the opponent. You start like if he's noticing that. And it just proved at the end, that was probably the difference, that mental side. Berankis just held his nerve just in those last couple of games. He wasted a match point, I think, at 5-4.
A bit more experience as well in the situation. The situation he's in.
Berankis has been around the houses, hasn't he? So
a bit off topic, actually. What have you made about some of the stuff the players are wearing?
Who are you talking about in particular?
Well, I'll start with Felix. I like Felix's outfit, man.
Felix is always he's always got a pretty good get up on Felix. To be fair, I have to say, it's
inspired by what he was wearing. It's inspired by Agassi.
Well, so he's going back to like the 80s.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was really nice. Like, there was a few of the guys wearing some cool stuff. I didn't mind Tommy Paul's as well.
Tommy Paul's wasn't bad. Yeah.
A bit bright, but I don't know. I quite liked it.
I think that's his style, though. He likes to have a bit of the old fluorescence on him while he's playing, just so he can be seen. It'd be good for the night matches.
Dimitrov usually wears something quite cool.
Oh, mate, it's Dimitrov. Wait and see what he's wearing.
Anyway, enough of fashion stuff. Let's talk about the tennis.
Yeah, let's have a look down. We're still in that sort of top half of the draw. Let's just have a quick
Well, you've got
look.
the 4 quarters, don't you? So you've got like Djokovic quarter, the Thiem quarter, Tsitsipas quarter, and the...
Yeah, so you got Djokovic, Goffin, Medvedev, Batista Agut, Berrettini. If you're talking about the actual quarterfinals, okay. So yeah, we just got we got Thiem, Tsitsipas, we've got Djokovic, and we've got Medvedev. Yeah,
Medvedev, that's it.
So yeah, staying in that top part though,
the champion,
where Djokovic is. Well, within the Djokovic part, we obviously had a crazy result, which we have to bring up. Benoit Paire was in his first round match. Don't know what happened. He got bageled in the first set. And then I saw he was 1-0 down in the second.
Yeah, he got broke in the second straight away. And then packed in the towel. He's like, I'm not doing
writing on the wall, wasn't it? He just
apparently it was illness and he wasn't very well.
Ah, that old illness. The old, too many bagels illness.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he's not really been... I doubt he's probably prepared very well for these tournaments. I saw on his Instagram story.
I saw that.
He was just smoking.
I saw him just lying down on the court where he was just there. They were practicing.
Oh, yeah, I saw that as well. And then literally like a few days before that, he was in a shisha lounge and all smoke around him. I think he's just been living life, to be honest. He's not been on a holiday.
We just seen him in his budgie smugglers for most of the summer. So I don't know what he's really been up to. But
he's a really good player, man. I just don't think it's going to probably take him a while to get going again.
He's a good character for the tour, so we need players like him on there. So, but he obviously lost to Borna Coric, and Coric now face Goffin in the next round. So that would be quite an entertaining match, I would have thought.
I think you've got Paire and... what's the other guy? Gilles Simon as the L of the week. They can share it together.
The French, they can take them both back to France. The French aren't doing too well. Have a quick overview. Obviously got Medvedev's little quarter there. Taylor Fritz, he player no one's really talking about as much, but he could be one who's gradually growing as a player, obviously.
He's a bit of a dark horse for sure.
Wolf will probably be backing him, I'm sure, being the physio. He actually took out Lloyd Harris. Lloyd Harris is a solid hardcourt player, probably more on the challenger scene, but he actually destroyed him 6-1, 6-3 in that first round match. So Fritz is just one of those players who...
I was really impressed, actually, that he was able to do that.
We should have really touched on this when we were speaking about Tiafoe, because this is somebody who looks like they might be fulfilling more of that potential. Slightly more.
I feel like they're polar opposite. Like he's a lot better. Taylor Fritz, for me, Tiafoe should be doing what Taylor Fritz is doing right now.
Exactly.
Not. Taylor Fritz just looks like that level above. And we saw him. He got to the final, didn't he, against Nadal in Mexico?
I think it was Acapulco, wasn't it?
Yeah, Acapulco. And he lost that final. Obviously, Nadal was playing some scintillating tennis.
Nadal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. He still showed that he's able to get to these finals and do well. And he's a brilliant player. So we'll see how far he goes here. He's one to watch for sure in the tournament.
Young guy still as well, like 23, I believe. So, yeah.
We're not even giving our tips, our selections, our picks. Well,
but let's get through the rest of it. So we're looking... If we look down the draw a little bit, in that little Medvedev section, we've got Mackenzie McDonald, who's had a couple of cracking wins in the qualifying as well. He's now up against... Giron in
Marcus Giron.
Yeah, Marcus Giron in our first round. That'll be playing tomorrow. And then the winner of that gets Medvedev. Yes. You never know how Medvedev's going to be. We've not seen him play, but I wouldn't fancy playing Medvedev in the next round.
He won it last year, didn't he?
Exactly, the reigning champion. So he's still, obviously reigning champion here and US Open finalist from last year, so I don't think he's going to be that rusty on hardcourt. You remember his run last year? How many finals did he get to? I think it was
ridiculous. He had a brilliant season, so he's definitely all right. He's not someone you can write off for sure, and we'll see how he goes. But out of the 4 quarters, for me, I feel like it sort of favours Thiem and Tsitsipas. Their route to the final just seems a bit better than a lot of the others.
So Tsitsipas, Tsitsipas's little section there. There's some interesting players in there. I mean, that little quarter where Tsitsipas is as well, there's still some really decent players, and you forget how
you're going to get that. I'm not disrespecting the player. You're going to get that on all of these players in it are top draw players. So anyone in theory could potentially beat anyone because they're elite, unless it's Djokovic and he'll end up winning.
Well, if Tsitsipas has Big John Isner in his side, so in his little quarter. So that's always a difficult one. Obviously, just as you were saying, the big servers. We'll see how John Isner gets on tour. He's up against Hubert Hurkacz.
Yeah, but I mean more team. I'm more on the team side.
Oh, you're on the team train again.
I just can't. I think he's going to win this tournament. I really think he's going to win it. He's had 27 games in quarantine, exhibition matches.
Yeah, he's definitely he's not been resting, has he?
So he's not lacking match fitness, that's for sure. And his draw, the way it looks for him, I just feel like it's all set up, man, for a team win. So he's my tip to win it. I really think he's got a really strong chance. And
well, it's a very good.
Unless there's any big upsets,
it's a very good and fairly safe number 2 pick. But he does have a tough second round match. He's up against Krajinovic, which is not an easy way to start your tournament. There's some other great match. One match which stands out from that first round, which is playing tomorrow, I'm super excited about, is Dan Evans up against Andrei Rublev, which this is battle of the sort of more shorter guys, but more flair in their game. These two guys can really bring it to the court. And
I think we're going to see some long rallies.
I think we're going to see just some crazy shots as well, just some amazing
good
shot
tennis.
making.
It'll be really exciting to watch. I like watching good tennis, and it's going to be long rallies, grueling points.
And as much as I love Dan Evans as a player as well, I just think that Rublev is going to be on a warpath now he's coming back. And I think he's like my dark horse for this tournament. And I think you want to watch out. If he manages to get past Dan Evans tomorrow in style, watch out. Because I think he is going to be the one you don't want to be coming up against. He's in his part of the draw.
When points are at stake, especially at Masters 1000, he's one someone to worry about, I feel.
Oh, for sure. And he is, in that side of the draw, we've got Querrey versus Raonic. They're playing right now. So I'm not sure what the score is on that at the moment. Do you have a update on that?
Check.
So Raonic is leading, but one set up, but Querrey is a break up in the second, so pretty even. So but if they get through that, then Rublev will be against the winner of that, or Dan Evans will be against the winner of that, and then you've got Zverev Murray, and then the winner of that will play them. So you've got an interesting, and then obviously in that side of the draw you've got the Dominic Thiem effects down the bottom. So you could see potentially a quarterfinal, a Rublev Thiem quarterfinal, maybe, or a Zverev team or Murray team.
Is it fair to say Rublev is your pick to win the tournament?
That's really because he's not really one of the top dogs, but I've just been really.
Want to do it.
I want to. I'm just going to throw it out there, just because I think it's just he's really impressed me, and he's one of the players who's actually beaten Dominic Thiem in this pre-season as well. I just hope that he starts the tournament well, because if he doesn't, then I've just cursed another player just to go on and just fail. But,
you want to do a dark horse one, like an outsider?
Well, I think he is the outsider, but I just wanted to...
He's not really, though. Rublev isn't an outsider. I don't think you can have it. It's like saying Felix. I would probably have Felix from outsider, but I don't think he is an outsider.
Well, in reality, if I was going to pick an actual, one of the... Because you've really got the top 3 or 4 players, haven't you? You've got who do you think's going to win really? Djokovic, Medvedev, Thiem are probably the top 3 who you think, and Tsitsipas, top 4. Those are the top 4 you think could really go all the way. I mean, from what I've watched in the previous thing. But then again, Berrettini, he's looked really good as well.
Give us a name, Ben. Come on, give us a name.
No, mate, I'm just going to go, sod it. I'll go Rublev. There you go. I'm just going to throw a name in the hat. Andrei Rublev. He hasn't even, I've got one less round. I've got one more round to worry about than you. Your guys already got a bye through that round. My guy's not even played yet. So I'm hoping, even though I'm going against the GB, which I'm sorry, Dan Evans, I just excited to see what Rublev can bring to the table. And we completely disregarded Andy Murray's win as if he's not going to do anything now. One thing I did want to point out as well, but we haven't spoken about, that's going to be coming from the first round tomorrow. Obviously, Opelka won his match. One of the other matches I'm super excited about from this first round, Casper Ruud, Diego Schwartzman. These are two players that you love, like two of your favourites.
Yeah,
and
they are.
This could set up the potential match of that second round.
It's on hard, though. It doesn't really excite me so much.
No, but
hard.
Come on.
It'd be better if it was a clay court match.
The spectacle
Casper Ruud and Schwartzman on clay is a lot more exciting than them on hard.
Yeah, but we could have the spectacle in the next round, which will be Riley Opelka versus Diego Schwartzman, which everybody wants to see. 6'11" versus 5'4" or something, isn't he? I think so. The smallest player on tour versus the biggest player on tour. This is going to be one for the photo opportunities. So it's going to be like, what wasn't it? Nishioka when he played him. He was still about 5'7", though.
He's quite short, isn't it?
Schwartzman's going down another notch, but he's higher in the rankings. That's going to be an exciting match, though. I'd love both those players, so can't wait to see who comes out on top in that one.
I think Riley probably is the favourite.
Yeah, but we don't know about Ruud and Schwartzman. I'm excited about that match. I think Schwartzman will probably take it, but
I think Ruud would fare better against Opelka, but I think Schwartzman will beat Ruud, so...
Yeah, I think so too. But other than that, there's looking through the other matches, the only other ones we probably haven't touched on, was another amazing match. Grigor Dimitrov, we haven't mentioned him. He's come back from the coronavirus and playing a hard first round match, Hugo Humbert. That's a real tough one to start you off. Don't really fancy that as your first round match. But yeah, it could be. But the French haven't been playing.
All right. I think he'll come through that.
Yeah, if the French is anything to go by on these first rounds, I think he'll be fagled twice and going home. But yeah, we've spoken about the ATP for quite a substantial amount. Let's just hope all of those players playing tomorrow have great matches, and then we can report back to you later next week. Let's have a look at the WTA, though. WTA Cincinnati is obviously, we got a match playing at the moment, actually. Venus Williams is up against Yastrem.
Is she winning that one?
Yeah, she is. She's a set up against 7-5 in the first.
Ah, interesting.
So
yeah, she was underdog to win a thing, but I did fancy Venus.
She played well in the last tournament up against Serena as well. I was quite impressed with her. I think Serena's just got that more experience in the bigger stages. I think like she's done it that many times over and over and over that it's just in her DNA. I think. Well,
let's start with this tournament though.
Yeah, for sure.
Rybakina, she was a person before the tournament started. I love her. I think she's a brilliant player. She started the year so strong as well. She won quite a few matches at the beginning of 2020. She come up against a very tough Russian, Alexandrova, and unfortunately she's gone out first round.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Straight sets. She had a few opportunities as well because I watched the match and I was quite excited to see her. And the second set, she was up 5-2 in the tie break and just couldn't hold on and just ended up losing it 8-6 and getting knocked out. So it's disappointing because I feel like she could have done well in this tournament. But
yeah, for sure.
On to another year or maybe US Open.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, have a look through, just do a few little picks. I mean, obviously the one we've got to bring up, it was quite an exciting first round match, which was Coco Gauff was up against Sakkari. Maria Sakkari, and she's battered her pretty much.
Well, it was their first ever meeting. I thought Coco could do her.
No,
Maria was on some good form, and she played some really good tennis.
I wasn't feeling Coco Gauff in this one. Like Sakkari is like a bit of a she's got so much fight in her. She's quite an aggressive player.
She is aggressive, yeah.
I think with Coco, as it showed against Jen Brady in the last tournament. Yeah, I'm not sure she can handle that yet. Like someone with that much firepower who really goes at her. I think she's really good and solid, like fundamentals, but when someone really goes at her, I don't think she's got like the firepower yet to go. And Sakkari 6-1, 6-3, like cleaned up pretty quick. Other ones in the draw there, we've got like at the top half of the draw, we've got Karolina Pliskova. She's going to be up against Kudermetova in the next round. We've got at the bottom half, Sofia Kenin. She's going to be up against Elise Cornet in her first match in the tournament. Other players, obviously Serena Williams is in there. She could be setting herself up with a match against Sakkari if they both get through their next matches. Sakkari could be up against.
And with that, I think that's going to be a really tough match if they do play each other. I don't think it's going to be that straightforward for Serena to be beating Maria Sakkari. Obviously, she's in brilliant form, Sakkari. She's high on confidence too. And I think that's going to be a close match. I'm not sure which way it'll go.
But one player, I know it's like the curse of winning a tournament, but one player you should still look out for. Jen Brady's back in this tournament as well, and she just won the last one. Don't rule her out because she could quite easily. She was smashing the ball in that last tournament and hitting winners after winners. And I think even Jill Teichmann as well. Don't rule her out. She got to the final. I think keep an eye on both of those players because I think they could both go very far in this.
I think for me personally, Brady and Kenin are the ones I'm looking at. I think Kenin, them two are other. Yeah, I think they're the real strong ones. It's going to be tricky to see either of them not win it, but obviously there's loads of good players there. Serena, you can't really rule her out.
Sabalenka,
there's loads of other ones. Yeah, well. Sabalenka,
Osaka. Don't forget her, the highest paid female athlete in the world. Don't forget.
Yeah.
So she's in there.
More disappointment for British tennis. Heather Watson.
Oh no. Joe Konta not having to play yet, so we haven't got to have that disappointment just yet.
I'll be honest. British tennis isn't actually in, as much as people want to say it's doing really well, it's not really in the best of places, especially the women's tour more so than the men's. You've got Joanna Konta and Heather Watson.
Yeah.
Neither of them are that impressive, to be honest. Heather Watson, she had a flurry, didn't she, where she played well in Acapulco.
Yeah.
She was doing really well there.
But she won a tournament, didn't she?
Last year, you had Wimbledon, you had Konta doing really well at that. She was playing some good tennis in the slams, in all of the slams really last year. But even then, I'm just not that impressed. Like the way they've come back, the exhibition tennis, granted, they've just not been that. They've just been quite poor, to be honest.
They don't fill you with that, like, confidence, do they? They don't have that one big weapon that you just like they're renowned for. Just think, oh yeah, they've got that like power game where they're finishing players. They're like the sort of more just percentage and just more strategy based. But if they come up against, like we saw with wasn't it Ons Jabeur she came up against, like Joe Konta, and you just see like a player like Ons Jabeur playing her.
It's just a golfing class.
Yeah, just wipe her off the court with just power. And I just think that it's always going to be like that against players with power who are that consistent.
It's a shame because Heather Watson, like she looked like she was coming back to some good form.
Yeah.
2019, she was winning quite a few matches. In 2020, even the start of that, she looked quite strong.
Yeah, she looked like she was going to be
off. Maybe she can refine that. I don't want to rule her off too soon, but hopefully. The way she's played in the last few matches has just been a bit flat. That's probably the best way to describe it. Both of them look flat and just not really that exciting. And it's not really. It's a bit disappointing. It's disappointing, really, for British tennis to see them play in that manner.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you have any? So your pick on that one, probably Kenin.
Yeah, but it's a bit boring, isn't it, for me to say that?
A little bit,
but it is Kenin. I think Kenin's gonna win it. Yeah, I do think Kenin will win it.
It's a really tough one to pick. I forgot about Jen Brady. I was going to say Teichmann, but she had to qualify to get in this. How crazy is that?
I don't think Teichmann's going to win it.
No, I don't think
she had a good tournament before, but you know how it goes. Usually when you have a good tournament before, you never really follow that through.
No, exactly. That's why I was looking at some of the other ones who are actually in there, and there's a really good first round match there, which is Leylah Fernandez, who's obviously the youngster, and she's up against Ons Jabeur in that first round, which is such a great match. And
that is a big match, yeah.
Yeah, I think
she's only young, this Leylah Fernandez, 19 years old, been in incredible form. Really good player. Come through the qualifiers with ease, really.
Yeah.
And she's one to watch, the Canadian. I know over at the Canadian Tennis Podcast, they always talk really highly of her.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're saying how she's one for the future. And she is a really exciting young prospect. So I wouldn't rule her out against Ons Jabeur. As good as and powerful as Ons is, that'll be a very closely contested match.
Yeah, for sure.
And whoever wins it has a good chance of progressing to the tournament.
I think so. They'd be up against Madison Keys if they got through that. But
so your tip?
My tip. I mean, it's so hard to pick. I mean, it's even harder than in the men's draw and the women's one. It could literally be any of these people in this draw.
Yeah, but that makes it more exciting, because if you do pick it out like you did in the Australian Open, you went for Kenin, and that was a bit of an outside pick. Like no one really saw that coming, and it makes you look like a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just copying you last time, man. I'm going with Kenin now.
Why not, mate? Sounds like a good plan. Well, it's really tough to say. I mean, the obvious choice would be someone like Jem Brady, just because of her form. Yeah. But it's just hard to say because none of those big dogs were in that last tournament. Well, only Serena and stuff, but she hasn't had to play like the who's who of.
What about Osaka? You go for Osaka.
I would like, but I haven't seen her play. This is the problem with all of this. I haven't seen any of them play any tennis.
Yeah, but mate, you've seen enough of Osaka over the years. You know what level she's not going to just lose all of that.
You've seen the Osaka in some of her matches has been bageled by some people in the before this pandemic started. So she's one of those ones who's a bit hot and cold. I'd probably.
Brady, man. You want Brady?
I don't know. I think I was like swaying towards someone like that, but yeah, throw Brady on. See if she can do a double. See if she can shock the world. See if she can become one of the big names on the women's tour. Go on, Jem Brady. Do it again. Yeah, let's move away from WTA Cincinnati. All of our female fans, sorry to disappoint you, all 2% of you. Yeah, so
we looked at the analytics, didn't we? And literally 95% of people who watch this podcast are men.
98, I think, but yeah, still.
Oh, is it 98?
Yeah, but you never know. You never know.
We're not really eye candy, though, are we, Ben?
Mate, we're trying our best. This is a pandemic. Haven't had a haircut in 6 months.
I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah, let's move on to the challengers anyway. We obviously had the big news, which was Stan Wawrinka playing in a challenger for the first time in about 13 years or something crazy like that. Time. And he didn't really disappoint. It seemed like he was putting on a bit of a show. That's what I was feeling. He seemed to be losing a set every time he was playing. But I thought he was getting a tough match, though, from a lot of the players. And it was good to see that the challenger level is still pretty high if players are taking a set off Stan Wawrinka.
I think you've got to look at who Stan Wawrinka is as a player. He's been nicknamed Diesel for a reason, in terms of it takes a while to get him going. Like for him, he's always a bit slow to get into a game. When he finds his feet into a game, he's at times unplayable.
He was. Did you see him against Summit Nagal? He started and Summit Nagal took the first set, I think it was 6-2. And then it was almost like someone flicked a switch. And then he won, I think it was 6-love, 6-1.
These were warmed up, mate, and he was ready.
Nagal probably thought, what am I doing wrong now? He couldn't even get a point, couldn't buy a game. Oh, mate, he wasn't in that game, I tell you. He's literally got blitzed by Wawrinka. But yeah, credit to Wawrinka, though.
He lost the first set in all of the matches aside from the final.
I think it was then he played against Wawrinka, I think it was in the semi-final.
Yeah, a really exciting player, by the way. 19-year-old Czech player.
Very good.
In brilliant form, beating a lot of good players, and he's someone who's rising through the rankings fast. I think he's on 300 for the moment, maybe 400, but he's someone to watch out for. I wouldn't be surprised in a few years if we see him on the main stage of the ATP.
No, I thought it was really good though. One of the real positive things about someone with his aura, like someone like Stan Wawrinka, obviously 3-time Grand Slam winner, going back to a challenger, is it puts all the eyes, and you get to, like, on this tournament, you get to see all of these other players and see how good they really are. Because look, they're playing against somebody who's Grand Slam champion, and taking sets off him is pretty impressive feat for someone like this young kid, like Bobrinski as well.
I'm really glad you said it, because it's a bit controversial, actually, this whole thing. And there's a lot going on about whether they feel that Stan Wawrinka should be allowed to play in a challenger. Is it actually fair for Stan to be dropping down to a challenger, a top 20 player, dropping down to a challenger, playing against people in theory he should be beating quite comfortably, and taking it from someone who relies heavily on these tournaments and then points and that prize money to get through their career? He's taking that opportunity away from them, because at the end of the day, it's going to be very tricky for them to be able to win it. And a prime example of that is that Aslan Karatsev. Sorry about the pronunciation. I'm not great at it. But that guy, he was the Russian guy. He got to the final in brilliant form and beating some amazing players.
Not dropped a set in like 5 matches.
And that's what I'm saying. So 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, he would have won that event. Regardless of it, one of the challenger players, probably 200th in the world, 100 and something in the world, he would have won that event. The form he was in, the way he was playing, he would have definitely won that event. The only reason he didn't win it is because Stan Wawrinka was in it. So it's a shame for him, isn't it? If you look at it in a way,
not necessarily.
He's lost the opportunity of winning a tournament because of some freak situation. What has not happened since 2005. Who is it? What's the guy's name?
Who?
The guy in 2005 who dropped down to the challenger.
Oh, Ljubicic.
Yeah, when he dropped down, I did know it, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, not the dodgy pronunciation.
when he dropped down and he won the tournament. So that's what I'm saying. You can look at it 2 ways. You can say it's good because it brings eyes on the tournament.
I think
obviously it was brilliant that people get to play against someone like Stan Wawrinka. They're never really going to get the opportunity. Well, not for many years until they progress onto the main draw. But you can look at another way, that someone's just been taken of an opportunity. And also, there's one less place for someone lower ranked who could have had a chance to get into the tournament and prove himself, because he's taken the spot of someone who would have potentially wanted to be in that tournament.
Yeah,
who deserves to be in that tournament, who can't actually. They've not got the luxury like Stan Wawrinka to be going, oh, you know what, I might play the US Open next week. They can't do that. That's what I'm saying. So it is a bit unfair in terms of the only time I feel like you can have a reasonable justification as to a top 20 player dropping down to a tournament like that is if they've come back from a serious injury, like Andy Murray did, and they're sort of progressing and trying to get back on tour. But this is not the case with Stan Wawrinka. It's just the case he's had a few months off. He's still not got an injury. He's just trying to warm up for the French Open. So you can have I see it both sides. I'm not on the side that I don't think Stan should be on there.
I
see it from both sides, but I can see the side of the fact that it's not fair for the challenge. And we're someone on this. We're huge advocates of
but
Challenger Tour and supporting these players who need this, need the help. Stan going down there's not help them.
But do you not think, in a way, it does sort of help them? Because if he wasn't there, who would even? There's another challenger going on in Prague right now that started as soon as the other one was finishing. It's called the Prague Challenger 2.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anybody talk about this challenger because Stan Wawrinka's not even in it, and no one's even talking about the second challenger.
Yeah, but who are you talking to? 'Cause I've been following that as closely.
Yeah, I have. But it's not been being made as public, and there's not seen the headlines from it because the high-profile players aren't in it. But if you have somebody like that,
what's more important, the headlines of it, or someone literally losing out on their prize money? And but
I'm saying the eyes on those players playing in that tournament. There's some players who might be like 200 in the world. No one's been watching them play, and they've never had anybody watching them play. Now they've suddenly got hundreds of thousands of people maybe around the world watching them play because they're playing the same tournament as Stan Wawrinka. And they're interested.
And what would you rather have if you was a player? People watching you or 20 grand?
Well, it might turn into more because people might become a fan of them.
Answer the thing. Would you want the prize money, or would you want people just to be watching you and say, oh, look, I've seen you on telly?
No,
but you get a text that night, oh, look, I saw you playing Stan Wawrinka.
Yeah, that was
good. You just You did really well the first set. Oh, what happened after that? Oh, Stan just turned up.
Might have gained like 5,000 Instagram followers from that. Might have gained another 20,000 Twitter followers. You don't know. It's all relative in today's like popularity and becoming like a name in a sport. Look, you see how popular people are on social media equates to their success. You could be like 100. You could
I know
be
what you're saying, but it wasn't that much in the spotlight. It wasn't being broadcast on TV. It's only because it was in the spotlight because you know what was happening. But it wasn't actually. I don't think it got that many more views than say the other challenger. I don't think the proportion's as big as what you're making out it to be. It only seems so big to you because you know who Stan Wawrinka is.
There's quite a lot of people watching it in the stands.
Yeah, the stands were packed.
Yeah, no, the stands were packed for Stan.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for him because I love Stan and he's a brilliant player. But I just don't think it should. I feel like there should be a measure maybe in place for players not to be permitted to go to tournaments like that.
Like top 50 can't or.
Well, I just think it's not fair. That's what I'm saying because they've got the privilege and to go down to think. And he's now moved up in the rankings, so he's now 15th in the world after that success.
Nice. I heard he's playing an ITF next week.
Mate, I'll be there with my pitchfork.
He's there in the futures in a few weeks' time. He's playing college.
Nadal. Imagine Nadal in the ITF or something like that. It's just, mate, this is silly, isn't it? Come on, it's just
playing college tennis next week with a few players.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know, guys, in the comment. What do you think? Do you think it's good for Stan to be playing in these tournaments, or are you more siding with me?
You said you weren't on either side. No, you are.
Yeah, no. I'm more on the side that I don't think he should be playing, but I see both sides of it. I can understand what you're saying as well.
Oh,
I'm not that passionately saying that he shouldn't be there, but I do feel sorry for like players who really need it, especially in times like this as well. We're in tough times, man. And at the end of the day, someone who would have entered for that tournament didn't get the opportunity because Stan decided that he wants to play it. And not just that, also the fact that the finalist Aslan Karatsev, he was, and at the end of the day, he missed out on more prize money.
Yeah, for sure.
When he was entitled to that because I feel like, granted, he could have still lost to someone else.
It's in the form of his life, mate.
But he's been playing some ridiculously good tennis, and even against Stan, I think he had a set point the first set. So
some of these players
didn't get blown away by Stan. I know as the sets went on, the second set he kind of did a little bit, but I think the occasion kind of got to him a bit.
Yeah, but it would do. But might be one of the matches where he looks back in like 20 years and goes, when I played that final against Stan Wawrinka, like he might not ever get the chance to play someone. Like you never know how his career. That might be one of his career highlights. He'd playing Stan Wawrinka in front of like quite a lot of people in that stand.
Yeah, but I've got a bit of a different attitude to you, Ben, with this. I don't think you can have a highlight if you lose.
Well,
with a highlight for me, yeah. Like,
here we go. Like, we're not going to go on to this topic today.
You've got like a highlight's only a highlight if you win.
We've spoken enough about Stan Wawrinka. It feels like it's becoming the Stan Wawrinka channel.
We could have done a whole podcast on Stan.
No, let's it's match point over in Cincinnati at the moment. Milos Raonic with 3 match points now. He's just turned that second set around. Looks
big
like
servers, Ben. What did I say? The big servers are going to come.
Sam Querrey is a pretty big server as well.
Yeah, but Raonic, I don't know. He's good.
Raonic is consistently big. Oh, and there you go. He's taking it. 6-4, 6-4. That sounds like a proper round. 6-4, 6-4. The Raonic score. That's what he loves us. He loves it. Didn't he win? He didn't drop a set for the first like 4 rounds in the Australian Open, does it?
Yeah.
Until he met Djokovic and then just lost in straight sets.
Anyway, come on, man. Let's wrap this up because it's midnight now. So let's get to the last little bit.
Yeah. Let's. There was just. What about the Todi Challenger? Do you want to?
Yeah, we're gonna have a quick mention of that. There's some exciting young players there. We had Massetti there. We had Zeppieri.
Yeah,
didn't quite cut it. To be fair, a bit disappointing. Obviously, they've got bags of potential on clay, but there was a few more experienced players who we've seen there who've done really well. Notably, Yannick Kampfmann. He's come through against some good opponents. He beat Musetti in a very, very closely fought match. But then
good match that as well.
Yeah,
watch that.
The third set just was too much for him. It's a shame. There's been some good tennis. I've enjoyed some of it, to be fair. But it looks like now we've got the final tomorrow of Hanfman versus someone else we've not really mentioned much. It's Zapata Morales.
Yeah, well, he's sort of been the standout person of the whole tournament, I think. And just shocked.
Bit of a surprise.
When he just destroyed Caballes Baena, like 2-0. I watched the match and I don't know what Baena was doing in that match. He just was terrible. Didn't look good like himself at all. He
had some good form, Baena, coming into it. I think he won a few matches. So I was a bit surprised to see him sort of the way lose so comfortably.
Yeah, it was an awful match for him. I don't know what happened. He just looked frustrated the whole match. And Zapata Morales has just been playing really well since then. He beat Huang in the semi-finals, the French player. Comfortably. So, and then we're just now against Hanfman, Yannick, who's always pretty solid on those clay court challenges.
Yeah, talking about Huang quickly, he had a good match against Gaio, Federico Gaio.
Yeah, he did.
Gaio was favourite for that match, I think. I was surprised he come out on top. I thought Gaio would have done that. Gaio was my guy who I thought would have won the tournament, funny enough.
Yeah, he's a safe pick.
He started off a bit shaky even from the first match. He was down a set and just sort of clawed it back. Maybe it's going to take a while to sort of get going again.
Are you back in now for that final?
Looking at the final, I think Hanfman will take it.
This is the problem that everyone.
But he can't really go against Zapata. He's in brilliant form. He's been underdog in basically every match he's played so far, and he's won. So
don't write him off.
He's going to be underdog again, I'm assuming.
I'm going to back him. I'm backing him. I think I kept on writing him off, but that's what will happen. I'll back him now, and he'll lose. So that's just the classic curse that I'll put on him. Sorry for Zapata Morales, but hopefully he does well in that final.
Yeah.
But one more thing did you want to touch on? I heard some rumours that were flying around about Zverev in this ATP Cincinnati. Didn't there something going on in his camp, which was a little bit dodgy?
Apparently, this is only rumours currently right now, that his dad's been tested positive for coronavirus. We know that it's Zverev's dad, so we know that they're, and a lot of times they're in quite close proximity. So I don't know what that now means for Zverev and whether he's going to be able to continue on the tour. I doubt he will be able to. Well, I'm assuming they'll just get tested. If it's a negative test, they'll allow him to play.
Yeah,
and then we'll go from there. Another guy talking about testing, Kenin Shikori.
Yeah.
He's had a second test now and he's tested positive again.
It's mad, isn't it?
So the US Open started in 10 days. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. It's looking like he's not going to be able to play in it, to be honest. Because surely you can't just have a positive test a few days before and then say, you're allowed to play now. So it looks like he could be another casualty to be dropped out of the tournament.
It's really sad, that.
Yeah.
Such a great player.
Sad, yeah. But then we're not back to Zverev. Not sure what's happening. Not even sure if it's real that his dad has got coronavirus.
Yes, that's not an exclusive.
We are speculating a lot, but it does seem there's quite a reliable source who's come out and said that he has been tested positive. So we'll see what happens with that. See what happens with Zverev. And we'll see what happens with all the tennis coming up. It's going to be exciting stuff. I'm going to be watching it all.
Have you got any big three facts this week? Probably not.
No, I don't have a big three facts. We've had a bit of a long podcast, so maybe I'm going to get some sleep, and then we're going to do a big three facts on the next one, because we'll do another podcast in a few days.
Yeah.
We'll have a few more recent, we'll have a lot more frequent podcasts coming out now because there's so much tennis to talk about, and it saves me having to listen to Ben on my own. You can have to enjoy it too.
And don't forget, you got the US Open, which is going to be coming up. So we're going to be throwing out a ton of content during the US Open. We're going to be probably staying up late, watching the matches, getting some early reactions out for everybody. And hopefully get the news, that Game to Love news, trying to ping out a load of those on either daily or every couple of days, just so that everybody's kept up to date with all the latest tennis news. So it's exciting.
And then with regards to Cincinnati, the final, we may even live stream it, but we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say one more, just small little fact. I was just going to touch on. I know that you touched on one of the previous podcasts that you were saying, like, without the crowd, you just didn't really agree with it.
Mm.
And when I was watching tonight, it was the first inkling where I actually started to maybe agree with you. It was a bit weird watching the Murray match. I don't know. It was a little bit strange, but it might change.
Mate, it's not the same. It isn't the same, for sure.
It might
In
get
fact, I don't think I'll ever be saying this either, but I think they need some fake crowd noises.
No.
Like they're going to be
No, I was going to say that.
You said that, I literally slandered you. I was like, that's so pathetic. That's stupid. I was watching it today, the Murray one specifically, and it was just so dry. I was like, I think we need something going on. That's why when I saw that man walk across, I was like, yes, a bit of excitement.
I was thinking like we could do like a live stream and then we could provide the crowd noises for people.
Well, like a little DJ day.
Yeah, that's it. Like little buttons we can push if there's a good shot. Big crowd cheer. Yeah, you never know. Or a big ooh if it's just like a close one. Or if you get, or the challenge. You got to have one for the challenge, or the crowd clapping along for the challenge. Oh, mate.
Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I'll leave it there
anyway,
now.
Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.